Welcome back to 10 Baby Steps to Google Classroom. This is the fourth module, our fourth session together, and our last session together. And hopefully all of you have found your place, your way to Google Classroom with your personal Gmail account. And in the top corner, if you've already enrolled in the Google Classroom, there's no need to put the class code again. You're already enrolled. Just make sure that you've signed in 2 times and that you find the slides. And I'm just going to drop in those links into the chat just so you have access to them. And I also, yeah, let me do that right now. There you go. So the top one is the training for me, and the second one is your attendance sheet. And I also asked in the chat, what did you guys do over the weekend? And Kara went to the lake. Very nice. What did I do? I think Saturday we just did nothing, like really nothing. And then on Sunday I got to go for a run. I got to run 15 miles, but it's not what you think. I walked a lot. So that's what I did. If you would like to share what you did over the weekend, feel free to drop it into the chat. And we're going to move forward. So last week we went through, we got started and we did steps 1 through 3 on Tuesday, and then Thursday we did steps 4 through 7 and kind of pause there. Today we're going to conclude with 4.3 on steps 7 through 10. And right now we have 20 participants in our room. And those of you who have been leaving feedback, thank you so much. I look at your evaluation feedback every time we conclude and I make adjustments. And the feedback I'm hearing from you is to keep it slow. And someone offered the suggestion of maybe consider making this a 5-session class. And when I originally created it, it was a 5-session. So the CCEE organization and the organization who kind of sponsored this training decided to go for a 3-session course. I try to do the best I can with fitting everything in, but I agree, I would prefer longer. Unfortunately, that is out of my hands. But if you get an evaluation form in your email for this course, let them know so that if they do sponsor something like this again, that we'll get enough time. And you're using your personal email to sign into our Google Classroom, but as you're practicing, you can use your personal as like a sandbox, or you can switch over to your district account. And we're gonna skip this. And again, my name is Hans Tolman. So happy to be here with you guys. And I'm just so impressed that you guys are here on your summer break when you could be out by the pool, but maybe some of you are out by the pool, which is a bonus of distance learning. We've already talked about the website at bit.ly bit.ly/10 Baby Steps Classroom. And as we conclude our time together, oops, let's put in the correct address. And I'll drop this in the chat for you guys as well. But as we conclude our time together, you may decide that you need to go back in time and try to remember something that we learned about or a resource that was mentioned. Oh, some other people are sharing what they did. Trisha watched a whole lot of summer softball. Nice. And then Catherine went kayaking on Lake McCloud. That sounds very nice. Oh, and someone else's family did as well. Carissa's family in Windy on Sunday. Saturday was fabulous. Nadine, Kelly Lake, hike around the lake. So nice. It's so great that some of you are close to lakes where you can do that so easily, or maybe some of you traveled. I'm going to be going up to Oakhurst this next weekend with my family, and we may or may not get into Yosemite. You have to register for day passes, but if we do, we'll get some hiking in there. And if we don't, there's still plenty of places to hike in that area. So great to see some fellow nature lovers in our midst. Where am I? What am I doing? Okay. So we're gonna have a 10:45 after party that you guys are all welcome to hang out and ask questions or talk about whatever you want to talk about. And for my intermediate and advanced technology ninjas, I'm going to be dropping in some #Haunts pro tips. And if you're ever curious about those, just Google it. Just Google #Haunts pro tips, and you'll be able to see some of those that pop up. Like if you just click on this first Twitter link, you might be able to see it. Of course, this has been translated into Czechoslovakian. Anyways, maybe don't do that. It's better to get on Twitter and do that search. So I'm going to jump ahead and jump straight into where we left off. And I believe we were on step 7. So that's where I'm going to start. I know that we've already posted an assignment, but I forget if we got to post a question. Did we do that last time, guys? If you could let me know in the chat, just so I don't waste any time going over something we've already done. When I was looking in my Google Classroom, I did not see a question. So I'm assuming that we have not. So I'll go under that assumption until someone tells me otherwise. So as we create things under classwork, we have the option of creating assignments, questions, class materials, topics. You've already posted an assignment. Now you're going to post a question, and this is how you're going to do it. You're going to go to classroom.google.com. You're going to find the class, your practice sandbox class or example class where you're practicing. Once you open that classroom, you click on classwork at the top. You click that create button, select your select question this time, and you're going to title it. But this time, instead of putting a specific tasks, you're going to ask a specific question. But I would also encourage you to still add those numbered instructions. Hold off on adding resources at this point. We're going to practice that on step 8. But I'm going to model this to you of what this looks like, and then you're going to do it. So I'm going to go to classroom.google.com. If you've bookmarked your Google Classroom, that's going to make it easier to find. You can also go to this waffle, scroll down, find Classroom. And when you go to classroom.google.com, you're going to see all of your classes. And then you need to find your class that you're working in, go to classwork, click create, and then choose question. Now, this is a really basic function for Google Classroom. You have two question types, short answer or multiple choice. So for DOK level 1, you would choose multiple choice. If you're going to pick up your DOK level, you would choose short answer. So I'm going to go with short answer. And since this is the second assignment I've posted, I'm going to type #002 space, and then I'm going to ask my question. How are you feeling about going back to school in the fall of 2020? That's the question. And then for my instructions, I'm going to do the same format. I'm going to number my instructions for my students. So if a parent or someone else was looking over their shoulder, they would know exactly what to do. So in this space on the right, click, type your answer. in 1 to 2 sentences, answer the question. Click submit. And then click on see classmates' answers, or maybe it's responses. Read how your classmates are feeling. And then number 6, reply to 3 or more. Okay, so I've put my title question, I've numbered it, I've asked a specific question, I've put the instructions in number order to be very explicit about what I want them to do. And then on the right side, who is this question for? Well, it's definitely for this course, but guess what? Since I also have our Google Classroom for this course, I'm going to ask this question of you guys. I feel like I did that last time, but I don't know. I'm gonna post it again. But I could assign it to all of my classes or just one. For students, if you select more than one class, you won't be able to select which students it goes to. Do I want points? For this one, it's ungraded. Do I want a due date? No. For the topic, I'm going to put this under week 1. And students can reply to each other. I'm going to leave that on because I want to make this assignment lend itself to communication and collaboration. Students can edit their answer. If they make a mistake, I want them to be able to fix that. For this pull-down menu, I can ask it now, or I can save it as a draft. And again, watch what happens when I save it as a draft. Whether it's a question or an assignment, it will fall under whatever topic it is, but it will be grayed out. So you can see my assignment number 1, check in on Flipgrid. That's dark, and it's been posted on June 25th. But my number 2 question, and you can see the difference in the icons. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see that. There's in the assignment icon, there's the question icon, it's in gray and it's marked as a draft. If I want to post it, I would go to edit the question and then just ask so it shows up. Now this is going to be showing up in 2 classrooms. So I've just posted this question and let's see what it looks like. So now it's live in my Mr. Tolman's 3rd grade Rockstars, but since I check marked the other class, our course class, if I go to classwork, you guys will now see that in your assignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some extra time. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to post a question in your Google Classroom. And then I'm going to give you 2 minutes to go to our 10 baby steps to Google Classroom. And I want you to find this question and I want you to follow those steps. So maybe 2 minutes to post a question in your Google Classroom. And then I'll give you about 3 minutes to answer these questions. However, when you view this question, some people want to add class comments, but that's not where the answer goes. You'll have to go over here to the right side. This is the teacher view, but you as a participant, you're going to be able to see what the student sees on the side, on the right side. There's a place for your answer, and that's how you submit your answer. So I would like you, I'm going to give you a total of 5 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to post the question, and I'll let you know when it's time to answer the question in our Google Classroom. And if you guys get lost, feel free to drop it in the chat. So let's start with a 2-minute timer, starting right now. You may begin. And I'm going to play some copyright-free music. Let me know if that's distracting. And again, your first task is to post a question in your Google Classroom. Make sure you title it, add instructions, no resources yet. If you want to post a multiple choice question, you can to see what that looks like. We have 23 participants today. Glad you guys could join us. And in the chat, I'm going to drop in our sign-in sheet, just in case we have anyone who came in late. All right, you have about 45 seconds to post your question. Thank you, Kara and Carissa, for that feedback on if we went over this part of the baby steps. Thank you. So if you haven't signed in, please take some time to do that before our session ends today. Take 10 more seconds to finish your question. And I'm going to stop that timer and I'm going to restart it, and I'm going to give you an additional 3 minutes to follow the directions in Google Classroom. So if you're not sure what to do, here's what you're going to do. You're going to find the 10 baby steps to Google Classroom, and make sure that you're asking this question on your own Google Classroom. Make sure that you're not posting it on 10 baby steps. You want to make sure that when you're asking a question, you're going to your Google Classroom for your either fake students or real students. Go to classwork, click create, and choose question. Hopefully you've already posted your question, but now I want you guys to go to 10 baby steps to Google Classroom, click on classwork, open up this question number 2 that I posted, view question, and then you're going to answer the question on the right side. Don't put it in the class comments or in the stream. You're going to answer that question on the right side. And so far, 7 of you have turned it in. I'll give everyone else about 1 minute 48 seconds. And as a teacher, while I'm waiting for my students to respond, I'm reading student responses and I'm replying to people. So if you want to see what that looks like, you can switch over to our Zoom where I'm sharing my screen, and I'm going to model for you what I would do with students. So I'm reading Trisha's response. And if you've already posted, if you're one of the 9 who have turned this in, read some of your classmates' responses. There's a button where you turned in that question and it says see classmates' responses. I want you to click on that and look through your classmates' responses. Oh, it says turn in, not submit. Thank you, Kara. I always struggle to know what exactly it says on the student side because I'm not a student in a lot of classrooms, so thank you for clarifying that. So you're gonna click on turn in. All right, I'm gonna start on Trisha's. Also, you notice that as people are posting their answers, it's going to push your cursor down on this student answers page. You know, I'm going to give you guys an extra minute. I see that 14 of you have turned in your answer on number 2, but 12 of you haven't turned it in. So go ahead and take some time to answer that question. If you're not sure how to get there, here's what you do. You go to classroom.google.com. You want to find our 10 baby steps to Google Classroom. Google Classroom. No worries, Kathleen, not a problem. This is a safe place to try things, make mistakes, and it's okay. And I'm going to click on classwork. And then under classwork, under week 1, you see assignment number 2. How are you feeling about going back to school? You're going to view that question. On the right side of the question, there's going to be a little field. I'm not exactly sure what it says. Oh, BJ, let me see if you're on my roster. BJ, I'm not sure. Oh, I see your last name. So BJ, yes, you are enrolled in Google Classroom. So it could be that you're signed into your district account. You would have to switch back over to your personal account. Awesome. So as a teacher, I'm only one person and I'm able to give a certain number of people feedback in a certain amount of time. But if you empower your students to start giving peer feedback, you've created a little feedback army who goes out there and gives kids the feedback that they so desperately desire. So like Tara and Megan, they gave feedback to Kathleen, and I didn't even get a chance to give feedback to Kathleen. And Tara also gave back feedback to Carla. Man, Tara is on a roll with feedback. And then I see 2 people gave Kent feedback. Melissa didn't get any feedback. So as a teacher, I would try to identify those students who didn't get any feedback. And I'm just checking out the chat here. Great question. Okay. Thank you, Leslie. And then I'm also following up on Carissa's post in the chat. Could you join with your personal email? Have had other staff and teachers and tutors join as students so they can see exactly what the students see so they can better help and support them. So if I created a second personal account, I could join my personal Google Classroom as a student as well, and I could see, you know, that interface and how it's different. If you are in a district that has G Suite for Education, you will not be able to join with your personal Gmail account. You will be limited to people that are inside your domain. So I have a question. So you wrote the question in your practice class, but not sure how to publish it. Great question. So I'm gonna go back to my practice Google Classroom, and I'm gonna turn off this music, even though it's kind of nice to have background music. So I'm in my practice Google Classroom. I've clicked on classwork. I've clicked create. I've selected question. I've written my question. I've put my instructions. I've chosen my question type. And now the way that you post this is you make a choice. Instead of saying post, it says ask. So do you want to ask it right now? Do you want to schedule that question for a future time and date? Or do you want to save it as a draft? I'm going to ask this question right now. Notice how I didn't choose a topic. Since I didn't choose a topic, it goes at the top of my list and it's not under any topic. But if you click it, drag it, and you can drop it under a topic. And if you need to delete a post, mouse over it, click the 3 dots. You can edit, delete, or copy the link to that post. And we have a question in the chat. Have you ever had any issues with inappropriate comments? Great question, Kara. So when it comes to in-class or online communication and collaboration, the prerequisite to that always, whether you have physical students in your classroom or digital students learning online, it's always to go over procedures and expectations. You would have very similar expectations and procedures and character traits that you would in class as you would online. So you just want to make sure that before you start, oh, glad you got that, Leslie. Glad to help out. You just want to make sure that you go over that. Now, if you have a student that, refuses to show respect and responsibility, what you can do is, I believe you can go under people. I'm going to do this in our 10 baby steps. You go under people, like Kara, since you asked the question, you're going to be my talkative or maybe my inappropriate student. But I can't find you. There you are. So let's say Kara was, not using her filter. I would go to the right side. No, I would select her name under people in my Google Classroom. And then at the top of my student list under actions, I could email her, I could remove her, or I could mute her. Now, I would need a technology ninja teacher to let me know if you mute them here, would they be able to still post comments in a question forum like what we saw over here? I don't have the answer to that. I'm not sure. I don't know if that muting extends to all posts. But I've had a lot of students in my Google Classroom, and you just have to let them know that what you post online stays online. And even on the stream, there's a way for me to view deleted comments. If they're posting in classwork or in a question and they're using inappropriate language, all the students can see that. So there's a level of transparency and accountability that maybe keeps students from doing that. But then again, there's students that they don't care who sees it. They're gonna post or say what they want to say, and they tend to have that attitude in class too. Maybe they do it in a place where you can't hear it. Okay, so Melanie says, let's try it. Mute someone and see if they can post elsewhere. Melanie, I like that attitude. I'm gonna mute you. She's like, what? I'm gonna mute you, Melanie, since you volunteered. There you are. Man, I want my student list to be, oh, look at this. You can sort your students by first name. I prefer that. Now I can find your name really quickly. Melanie, click, and let's mute her. And it says, muted students can still submit work. Other students won't see it. So they can answer that question. Oh, they can't reply to classmates' work. They can't comment or post. So, Melanie, I think that answers our question. So I'm not going to mute you because I think we have our answer. So, Kara, hopefully I've addressed that issue. I think it's a relevant one. Am I still listening to music? I thought I paused you. Okay. You're welcome, Kara. Absolutely. It just takes, so when that does happen, it will happen in a student's or your future. I like to address that student on the side and just bring them over to my computer like, hey, look at what I found. Who can see this? What level of responsibility is this? What could you do differently to make a responsible choice? Just ask them questions. If they continue to do it, you mute them. You know what I mean? You can't force someone to be responsible. Awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time to answer your questions. I'm going to go back over these answers and give you some feedback later because we got stuff to do. All right, we're on step 7, guys. It's already 10:30. We only have 15 minutes left, but we're going to get through this. So the next thing that we're going to do for step 7 is we're going to post a classroom material. And when I say a classroom material, I'm talking about a resource that students maybe only need to access that week, or maybe they want to access it all year long, or they need to. So you go to Google Classroom, you click on the class, you click at classwork at the top. That's where all of your assignments, questions, and class materials are. Click that create button, choose class material, and you're going to notice a different icon for that. You're going to title it, add instructions. Actually, I don't think you can even add instructions. I think it's just the title, and then you add or create those resources. So I'm going to model to you how to do that. I'm going to click on my 3 pancakes in the top left corner, and I'm going to choose the class I want to go to. That's another way to navigate in Google Classroom. Discard the changes. Yes, I will. I didn't finish commenting. I'm going to click on classwork now that I'm in my Google Classroom, and then I'm going to click create, and I'm going to click material. Oh, there is a place for a description. Awesome. And this material is going to be, I don't know, I'm going to call it Google Translate. Use translate.google.com if your parents speak another language and need to translate information from websites or classroom assignments. And then I can click add, and I can choose from my Google Drive or a link. In this case, I will attach a link, and I'm going to attach translate.google.com and add that link. Then over on the right side, I have limited options here. I can assign it to multiple classrooms. I can assign it to multiple students. I can select a topic. Now, since this is a class material that they would use all year long, I'm going to create a topic on the fly here. And I'm going to call this topic class resources. But I have to spell it correctly. And then I'm going to pull up my handy Bitmoji thing. And I'm looking for, when I think of resources, I think of a file folder. I'm a little old-fashioned like that, okay? It's not a big deal, okay? A file folder. Okay, and now I'm going to post it. If I didn't want to, I could schedule it. I'm going to show you what it looks like to schedule it. Let's say I wanted to schedule it for tomorrow at 8 a.m. I select my date, I select my time, I click schedule. And this is what it looks like. It creates my topic. My class material is grayed out. And notice how on the right side it says scheduled tomorrow at 8 a.m. If I needed to, I could edit that material, correct the spelling, my goodness, and then I could cancel the schedule and post it right away, or let it be posted when it's scheduled. Now, that is how you post a class material. So I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. No, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. We're running short on time. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to post a class material in your class, and I want to challenge you to create a topic that says class resources, classroom, or however you want to say it. So you have 2 minutes. On your marks, get set, and go.
There's a lot of things on my mind. Stacking money like 365. There's a lot of things on my mind. Stacking money like this is fine. There's a lot of things on my mind. Stacking money like this is fine. There's a lot of
I
things
have
on
no
my
idea
mind.
what bands are playing this music.
Money like this is
I just Googled copyright-free music on Spotify because whenever I record a video that has copyrighted music, like the Justin Bieber, YouTube will block the video or partially block it in other countries because it has copyrighted material. So I have to go in, remove the song, or replace it with copyright-free material. So as I record these sessions, I may just switch to copyright-free music. You have about 30 more seconds to post your class material. After you're done posting your class material, I'm going to give you an additional 30 seconds to share what material did you post in your Google Classroom. I feel like Google Translate isn't the most helpful thing for students, but maybe you posted something that was helpful, so drop that in the chat. What class material would you post in Google Classroom that you'd want your kids to have access to all year? I'm gonna stop that timer and I'm gonna bring it back 30 seconds. Actually 40. Actually, a minute, because I wanna hear what resources you guys are posting. 1 extra minute. And Kara said she posted Emojipedia. Nice. Leslie posted a link to Flipgrid. Awesome. BJ, articulation therapy card, interesting. And a YouTube video, ooh, double whammy. Trisha posted a Google form, a chapter test. Now, if that was a chapter test you were using all year long, that same link to that form, I think that's a great place to put it under class materials. If you were posting a Google form to a chapter test that's only for a specific week, I would probably put that material, or I wouldn't even put that as a material. I'd probably choose an assignment so that when they submit that chapter test, you can see who has submitted it and who has not. Whereas class materials, they cannot submit it. It's just like a stagnant resource that they can have access to. All right, I'm gonna stop that timer. I'm just looking over your posts. Someone posted UN biggest lesson, sustainable goals, interesting. Cynthia posted a YouTube video to help practice math facts. Nice. That's something they would need all year. IXL, thank you, Carla. You're welcome, Trisha. Yeah, I'm happy to help with that. And then a link to Rock King website for an activity they will do for science. Awesome. And again, if that's something they need all year, in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, class materials is a great place to put it. If it's only for a specific week, you would want that material under that week because those resources are going to come and go and they won't be referring back to them all year. So just something to think about. Thanks, Kathleen. Flipgrid. Awesome. Okay, let's move forward, guys. So by far, step 7, baby step 7 is the biggest one. This is the main workhorse of Google Classroom. It's creating assignments and sending them out. And a pro tip that I mentioned before is there's no limit to how many assignment drafts you can have. So you guys can start working on the first month of school, once your district figures out a plan, and you can start creating Google Classroom assignments, even if it's just, you've turned in this paper to me in class or whatever. So you can have those assignments as drafts and the students won't be able to see them until you post them. All right, baby step number 8. We have 5 minutes, which is fine. But you guys have actually already been doing this. You've already attached a link, but the way that you add resources is you go to classroom.google.com, you click on the class, you click classwork, click create, or you click edit an assignment, question, or material, And then you use that add button at the bottom to add a file, drive, document, YouTube link, or a link to a website. You can also create any of those docs, sheets, slides, drawings, forms on the fly for that assignment. But since you guys have already done this, I feel like we can skip this. No problem, Melanie. Thanks for letting me know. So I'm going to move on, guys, because you've already done this. Yeah. If we have time, we'll come back to it. We won't have time. So step number 9 is to communicate with your students. And there are 4 resources I've posted here on 4 different ways to communicate with your students. One is to post announcements to your students. And I'm going to model to you how you do that. You'd go into your Google Classroom, you'd click on stream, you'd click share something with the class, and then you would type your announcement and then post it. So that's one way to communicate with your students. The second way, I get phone calls called potential spam. I barely answer my phone anymore. Why do I have it? The second way to communicate with students is you mention students in your posts. For example, if I were to go to our 10 Baby Steps Google Classroom, I'm going to look for someone's post. And here I see Kathleen. She posted her question here. Totally safe place to do that, Kathleen. But I'm going to go below her comment. And in order to tag her, I can press the plus sign and start typing her name. Kathleen Shirley. Oh, there it is. I think that's her. So I can tag her so she will get notified in her Gmail. No problem. This is the place to play and see what works. And then I'm going to leave that comment. And the reason why you would tag a student, so, you know, when you have a long stream of conversation in the comments and you reply to a student's questions that was like 4 comments up, it's easier for the students to tell who you're talking to. So that's commenting in Google Classroom. You can also email your students. You're welcome, Kathleen. You can also email your students. The way you would do that is you'd go into people, you would select the students you would want to email, click actions, email, and then it pulls up a new tab of your Gmail. It has those email addresses in the BCC, that stands for blind carbon copy, which you need to come up with a different acronym. I don't even know what carbon copies are. But this makes sure that all of the recipients cannot see the other people who have received this. So email your students. The next thing that you can do to pick up your communication game is to add the free Google Classroom app on your phone. And you can see student work, you can grade student work, you can comment on students. It just makes it a lot easier. And students can do the same. Now, as we wrap up our time together, for my advanced or intermediate users, my #Hans Pro tips is to start communicating with Google Meet, to use Google Meet as your main place for video conferences, maybe a once a week thing if you're doing distance learning. If you're using Zoom, that's fine. We've just had some issues with privacy on Zoom. I think they're trying to improve, but it can get bad if you have Zoom bombers. But what I've done is on this slide, on step number 9, I've included a Google form that I use that you can make a copy of. Anyone who has this link can edit this, so please make a copy the way you do that. And I'll drop this in the chat so you guys can just make a copy so it's in your drive whenever you want to check it out and edit your own. But what you would do is you would open this link, click on the 3 dots, Oh, I have to sign in. Okay. Click on the three dots and then make a copy. So that copy would belong to you in your drive, and that wouldn't affect this one. But here I posted a video on my instructions. I asked for the student's first name, student last name. I also put in the description the Spanish. So if a parent is filling this out for their child, they know what it says, which Google Classroom they're in, what grade they're in, the times they would prefer to meet, the days they would prefer to meet, what devices do they have, are they up for trying Google Meet if they have any comments. So that's another way that you can decide on a time and a day of the week to meet where you have the maximum number of students. You can turn on Google Meet in your Google Classroom so that there's a constant link there so they can always find it, and record Google Meets and add that Google Meet recording as a material in your Google Classroom so students who are absent can get it. So the last baby step is to learn more about Google Classroom. This is a very basic session that we've gone through, this module that we've gone through, but there's so much more. Here are links to different resources that you can check out. If you are in TK Kinder First Second, I would make sure that you check out Susan Stewart's TK Can 2 for Google Classroom. That's really insightful. There's a great Google Classroom cheat sheet by Ben Cogswell. By the way, I've met all of these educators on Twitter. So if you want to learn more about Classroom, the #1 place educators go to learn and share is Twitter. It's dominated by Twitter. Hundreds of thousands of educators are sharing best practices, and we're learning together in a global professional learning network. So if you're on Twitter, follow me and I'll follow you. If you're curious about Twitter, I posted a document, which I'll drop into the chat, that just explains why educators are on Twitter and how to get started with that. So guys, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm going to add this feedback. If there's anything else, any other ideas you have on how I can make this training better, you can give me that feedback in the 30-second evaluation form. If you have any questions, unmute your mic and ask me. And this is the conclusion of our 10 baby steps to Google Classroom. We are now having our after party. If you have to go, please unmute your mics and say goodbye, and unmute your camera so I can see that you're real people. That's always awesome. And thank you so much for taking the time, guys.
Just fantastic.
Bye. Thank you.
See you, Kent. See you, Carissa.
You.
Bye, Leslie.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a great summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Heather. See you, Kara. See you, Kathleen. Thanks for coming. Link to Twitter doc? Yes. Let me, I'm going to repaste it. See you, Carla. Thank you for coming. Oh, here, let me grab that Twitter document right now. All right, there's the Twitter document. Susan Stewart is very good. Ben Cogswell is like, I can't say that he's the leading educator in the world on kindergarten distance learning, because that's just my opinion, but he is. He's so good, Ben Cogswell. In fact, let me find his Twitter. Let me get his Twitter for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ben, Coach Ben. He is absolutely phenomenal. Whenever any kinder teachers ask me about, you know, how to do distance learning with kinder, I always send them to Ben. And he can and all of his resources he shares freely. We're part of a revolution called Teachers Share Teachers, or teachers give teachers, I think. Yeah, teachers give teachers. And we freely create and give our resources to teachers because it expands the impact of our work to more students. You're welcome, Tricia. You are welcome. Cool. Well, guys, this is the after party, so you can feel free to unmute or reveal your face if you feel like it, if it's a camera day. If it's not, I totally get it. I just barely made it. I woke up like this. So, man. So what are you guys doing for the rest of the summer?
Okay, I'm actually going to taking Susan Stewart's class that's running through the CCEE.
Oh, great.
And it's last dated today at 4. Yeah, she's very good. I've really enjoyed her. She stays very focused on the primary, and that's really good, really wonderful. Although her knowledge base is well beyond that, I'm sure, but that's been very helpful. And so that's what I'm doing the rest of today. I'm getting back in the classroom and pulling out resources, and board meets tonight, trying to kind of finalize what our staffing and ideas are going to be for our very small school. It looks like we're going to have 2 part-time retired teachers handling things. So,
oh my goodness.
Well, we're very small. I mean, we're talking a dozen students, but just to save money, instead of the probationary teacher that was there last year didn't work out. So, and it's really hard to get teachers out here, even so that's why I'm back at it.
And that's is that a district number, or is that just your school site population?
That's our school is its own district, and so that's the whole 9 yards. We got a dozen students,
a micro district.
So yeah, little house on the prairie. But so we're just looking at how, because of the budget concerns, like, okay, 2 retirees can work without anything else. So thank you very much. I'm getting started with classroom. Have a good rest of the summer.
You too. Thanks for coming, Nadine. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Take some time to rest and relax.
Yeah, up by the lake. Bye.
See ya. Well, Melanie and Lori, it's just us. The last of the baby steps.
Thank you. I've been trying to copy the links, but they aren't copying for me for whatever reason.
They should be live links. I try to paste them in a way where you can just click on them and it should open a new tab, I hope.
It does, but I was copying them into my Google Classroom for this day because I've been I've been using it for myself too. So, but I can't seem to get them, so I have to write them down. But anyway,
oh,
thank you so
sorry
much.
about that.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for the fall?
Not at all.
Me neither. Whatever it looks like, I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, and I just finished a conference, which I actually use Google Classroom to record or put materials in. Arrow, Alternative Education Resource Organization. They just had a 3-day virtual conference, and that was really, really good, because as we know, education is changing. And so how might that serve children better is really the focus. So
in alternative education, you're talking about like students that work in different environments based on their needs.
Right. And what works for families and students, and went from unschooling to homeschooling to different school arrangements, just lots of different ways of doing school, because as we know, it's not a one size fits all. So
right. Oh, good for you. Sounds like a very timely conference, man.
It was a lot of resources. So I was really grateful because I haven't used Google Classroom before. So I created my practice class, and so I would just stick all the resources in there so I can
Oh,
go
that's
back
a
to
great
it.
idea.
So it
That's a
was
great
really
way to
helpful.
practice.
Yeah, so I have a lot of materials, and now I know where to find them because usually, I mean, I have my little notebook here, but going back and finding things is typically pretty challenging. So this way I have it
Right.
kind of well organized.
Yeah, good for you. That's great.
So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome, Lori. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Hope
You
you get a
too.
chance to take a break.
I hope to, but I'm doing a few online things. There's a lot of stuff available right now.
There is. Man, this
Yeah.
is such a unique time in education's history. Like, this is like that whole COVID quarantine thing just kind of spawned this, I don't know, a lot of great learning opportunities and opportunities for change and, meeting students' needs and equity and access and all of these things that just haven't been addressed. And now it's like COVID is forcing us to address it where,
Right.
we wouldn't, some districts, I can't say my district, some districts, this would have taken 15 years to accomplish what we've accomplished in months. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm
So,
pretty fortunate. I'm at a small charter school, and we were a homeschool hybrid, so we were kind of prepared in a way. But to go all virtual was still a stretch. So.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. It's good that you've had some experience of what that, what works and what doesn't type of thing.
Right. Do you have any experience with Canvas?
You know what? Our districts are part of the Kern County of Schools districts, and our county office has just gone Canvas, and I guess they have a license for all of the districts to go Canvas. And I've only experienced it as a college student, like briefly, like one of my college classes. It's a learning management system. It's a little more, it steps above Google Classroom. It has features that Google Classroom doesn't have. I have not played with it, but my friend Alex is kind of training people at the local community college on it. I hear good things about it. When I think of TK, through second grade students on like a college grade platform, I don't know how that would work. I have a lot of questions about that. Like even Google Classroom, is probably a step down and more grade appropriate for K through 12 students. But a lot of students, when they graduate high school, they're going to be going into a platform like Canvas. And so maybe that's part of preparing them. But like, I feel like even Google Classroom may be too above some of our, TK Kinder first grade, mostly TK Kinder. They may require a different platform that's more, aligned to their abilities and what they need. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
I doubt.
our school is using it, and before it was high school was using it. We're a K-12 school, and now next year we're all being required to use it K-12. So that's
Okay.
So we're being required to use it. Which I mean, so really it's going to be the parents using it probably for K2. And the kids had a little experience with it for their math because that seemed to be the only way to do the math and be able to have them all meet, at least with the way things were set up for us. But it's like the parents are going to be doing it for the most part. But anyway, I was just curious.
I wonder, like, I have not been trained in Canvas, but this would be a great time for Canvas to have some free online trainings. Let's see, I'm looking on Twitter. Here, I'll just share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. But let me just go on Twitter. So I'm under the Canvas Twitter page. I'll follow them to see if anything pops up. but I was looking through here and I see one teacher started a little group of elementary teachers on Facebook. Lots of ideas being shared as many schools have adopted Canvas as their LMS for the fall. If you're interested, feel free to join me and over 700 of or 7,000 of my newest friends. Whoa. So this resource, I'm going to paste this in the chat so
Okay.
you can add this to your Google Classroom. So there's that group. I think that's going to be a really powerful group. Oh, it's already to 8,831 teachers since she posted that on Twitter, which was like 2 days ago. So they literally gained like 1,800 people in 2 days.
So yeah, like lots of people are using Canvas then.
Right. But I'm just scrolling through here to see if there's anything else that would summer contract trainer. I was a Canvas contractor for a few months. We had a blast. I have a feeling Canvas probably has some in-house, like, learning. Let me go to their site and see if there's some type of support, Canvas support. Read guides, release notes, instructor. Read guides, watch videos, learn something new, engage others. So this might be a promising resource. Instructor checklist. Interesting. So I'll drop this in the chat. That might, if I was wanting to learn something more about Canvas, I would probably start here and go through like some basic things. I wonder if all Canvas users, so many videos. Oh my goodness, it's a little intimidating. I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little training, but it's, lots of videos. It's hard. I learn better with the person.
Exactly.
So, that's just my learning style and preference.
No, I hear you. I took an advanced algebra course last summer, and I think that's where I first experienced Canvas, or one of the courses, but like going through all of their resources and their kind of learning path where there wasn't really anyone teaching me. There was like videos I would watch of old people like from the 70s doing like, formulas that are totally disconnected from reality. And I don't know, I got burnt out really fast. So there's definitely a bad way to do online learning. And I'm hoping that won't be perpetuated, during this time. Brings my training course to life with Canvas. I don't know. I'll have to keep on looking, but yeah, I would jump in and learn as much as you can, and it's going to be different than Google Classroom, and you probably wouldn't use both. Depending on what grade level are you working with?
I work with K-5, so I have all the way from kindergarten to 5th grade. Okay.
If they're requiring you to use it, I would, go as far as you can with it and use it for the grades that it works well with, and give them feedback on, how it's not working for whatever student populations it's not working with.
Was it possible to put Google Classroom into Canvas? I mean, still maybe use that for, say, K2 or K1?
You wouldn't want to do that. You would want to choose one or the other, because a lot of their functions would be very redundant.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd want to choose one or the other, and, get feedback from your supervisor on what's the best way to go. I really haven't used Canvas that much, so I can't really comment on how effective it is with, K through fifth.
Uh,
But I'd be curious.
yeah, I mean, even our middle school, I mean, we had all been trained like 2 years ago, and they chose to use Google Classroom last year. And now they're being forced to go to Canvas too. They're not very happy about it. So it's like, but anyway.
Yeah, there'll be some definite pros and cons to Canvas. One of the things I feel like I've heard or I've noticed on Canvas is they have these like modules, in Classroom how we can have topics and assignments below. Well, they have that type of thing where you can expand a module, but they have little tasks that you can do with a checkoff box. And so you can check off things in Canvas so the students can kind of track their learning of where they're going. But I also remember Canvas being very text heavy. So like for kinder kids, I don't see them, and that's why even Google Classroom is still very text heavy, where, it would be hard for students to navigate unless you were like posting videos of the instructions, which, now it's really easy to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I would join that Facebook group and see what they're talking about. That's probably going to be a really great resource.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciated it.
Absolutely, Lori. I wish you the best and have a great summer.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.